2 years. The nascent senior care sector in India is at a pivotal moment. This year's forum poses a crucial question. Is senior care in India ready to take off? Do we have the necessary ecosystem in place across both the private and public sector to drive the transformation of the silver economy? The goal of the forum is to enable rich discussion and perspective sharing from stakeholders across the ecosystem that can translate into real choices and action. On that thought, I would like to invite Mr. Rajat Mehta, Chairman ASLI, to share his opening remarks.
Thank you, Bani. Thank you very much. And namaskar, everybody, and a warm welcome, to this event. Special thanks to the Honorable Secretary, Social Justice, raising this presence. To Ankur, who's been a co-traveler and a strong pillar for us, and Dr. Samantha Das from GLL as well. Our country stands at a very interesting inflection point. Look at the number of seniors in India today. It's already about 133, 135 million. That's more than the population of Japan. And by 2050, 1 in every 5 Indians will be a senior. That represents about 17% of the world's population of seniors in 2050. So it's a very large and staggering number. Life expectancy has gone up in India, fortunately, but so has the disease burden. So as you grow older, from my healthcare days, I remember you are covered with 4 I's: instability, immobility, impairment, and incontinence. These 4 I's trouble the senior. So 40% of Indian seniors have either vision impairment or hearing impairment or cardiac impairment. 70% of mental disorders is an underdiagnosed number. It's not diagnosed, it's still a taboo in India to diagnose mental disorders. 74% of seniors have one or the other disease. It's not just one. And unfortunately, our research shows that in the urban cities in the last 10 years, more and more seniors are now staying alone. The estimates were about 25%, post-COVID in the research that we did. So I think from any perspective, numbers are so large, we need to pay very urgent attention to handle what people are calling the silver tsunami is coming on us in the next decade or so. Need to put appropriate frameworks, structures, policies in place so that the seniors are able to live their golden years with as much joy, respect, and dignity. If you look at the opportunity from any perspective, APIO released a report in February 2024. They said the sector is about $7 billion. JLL released a report that said that India needs about 18 lakh units for seniors, only about 30,000 are available now. And that's about another 7 billion by 2030. And Bangalore did an interesting research with McKinsey across 30 cities, SEC, 3,000 customers. And we discovered to spend about 3 to 4,000 rupees per month on their wellness outside the hospital. So that's a $5 billion market sitting there. So from any perspective, look at the numbers, they are $10 to $15 billion market. The sector is still very fragmented, so not very visible and apparent to people, but it's quite large. An interesting report published by McKinsey Health Institute in 2003, where they published 6 or 7 insights which are quite interesting to note. One, seniors now want a very active and positive lifestyle post-retirement. So gone are the days when they expected after 60 you retire, you go into seclusion, there's nobody to talk to, you're physically deteriorating. Those days are past. 70 is the new 60 now in India, definitely. Post-COVID, they've become very digitally savvy. They are quite familiar with WhatsApp, video calls, with YouTube, with Facebook, so people can reach out to them digitally as well now. The spend on wellness have gone up. As I said, they're spending more on supplements, regular checkups, yoga, meditation, joining virtual physical communities, as well for that engagement. A strong preference to be engaged and be socially relevant, right? They also want people to curate services for them. So now you will see a lot of travel portals coming up for curating travel for seniors. A lot of geriatric care hospitals coming up for seniors. So they want personalized curated services depending on their lifestyle, their need, and their health condition. Many have now expressed a desire. So earlier, Ashiana, us and Primus used to do senior living as standalone facilities. But we got the feedback from seniors saying we want to live amongst people who are non-seniors as well. We want to see life. So we are putting up our first intergenerational project in Estate 360 with Max Estates in Dwarka Express Center 56 Gurugram. There are 4 units of normal residential and 2 units of senior living, so seniors can see life around there, as well. Very passionate about maintaining their independence and autonomy. So that's what the McKinsey report says. So it's a great opportunity from a business perspective. the sector will prosper. We are seeing more and more people entering the sector with various formats. ASLI already has 100 plus members now, close to 100 members. There are people doing senior living, assisted living, remote senior care, interesting gadgets and devices, remote monitoring, lots of things happening in the senior care sector. What we expect from the government is the dialogue we had with Amitji, a few weeks back. One, I think there needs to be clear, consistent policies. There isn't one local agency for seniors. We have to deal with Ministry of Social Justice, Ministry of Health sometimes, Ministry of Urban Affairs, NITI Aayog. There should be one local agency with clear structure, frameworks. When master planning is done for cities, senior care should be a demarcated land so that there can be easy allocation, the developers can access government incentives, tax subsidies as well. Haryana recently released the senior living policy as we work with Maharashtra. They also released minimum standards for senior living. So we're hoping more and more state governments, will get conscious of this. Rationalizing GST and possibly seniors pay 18% GST on maintenance services in senior living. So we hope that will get rationalized and be easy on their pocket. Financing is a big issue. Very small, minuscule percentage of India has access to pension or social security. A very small percentage. So we need to look at insurance programs. We're quite thankful to the Prime Minister for having made Ayushman Bharat applicable to 70-year plus. IRDA also removed the cap on lifelong health insurance of 65 years. But we are hoping more and more insurance companies will start covering assisted living, care at home services and release more products. Unfortunately, the reverse mortgage product, which is very popular outside India, never took off in India. Like that's a great way of financing it. Capacity creation. From my healthcare experience, I can tell you it takes about 1.5 caregiver per senior to take care of the senior. So where are these crores of caregivers going to come from? So we have to look at, should we train the ASHA workers, the Anganwadi workers, should there be specific courses for geriatric care? Should we look at getting new workforces, train the domestic staff on senior care? So we need to apply our mind to capacity creation very, very carefully. The last thing I would say is we welcome to create a task force. There are many countries outside India which are far more developed in senior care, Japan, Switzerland, for example. But task force can be set up to study best practices because India will need to leapfrog. The numbers are so staggering, we cannot just go at the pace that we are going. So should we adopt robotics, remote monitoring systems, sensor cameras? So a proper task force to examine all policies and look at best practices will be a welcome move. So again, I welcome you to this curtain raiser. As you know, this is the most sought after coveted senior care event in India, the ASLI Aging Fest, which is now being held in Bangalore this year. So thank you for being here and thank you to Mr. Yadav once again.
For your invaluable insights. As we all know, an aging population will have both social and economic implications for our country. Currently, India's senior care sector is still in infancy, presenting significant opportunities for growth, capacity building, and much needed policy support, as Mr. Mehta had just mentioned. ASLI remains steadfast in its commitment to educating seniors about their care options with an unwavering focus on quality, transparency, and ethical practices. Through our industry events, we aim to improve standards, foster collaboration, and advocate for the rights and well-being of the elderly at every level of government. Together, we aspire to shape a future that respects and uplifts our seniors. Thank you, Mr. Yadav, for being with us today. It is truly an honor to have you with us. Mr. Yadav is a member of Permanent Civil Services with 23 years of experience in administration and governance. He has served in numerous key roles, including as Joint Secretary in Department of Communication, Director General of Foreign Trade, Additional Secretary in Department of Commerce, and Chairperson of the NDMC. He also represented India in agricultural negotiations at the World Trade Organization in Geneva for 3 years, served as chair of WTO's Committee on Technical Barriers to Trade for a year, and was the lead negotiator for the India-Australia Free Trade Agreement signed in March 2022. I now request Mr. Yadav to come to the dais and share his keynote address. Please, sir.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here and to congratulate ASLI for organizing this 5th ASLI Aging Fest. The ministry works and is mandated for the senior citizen as a broad topic that part of the inputs which provides us, which feeds us into the policy which we continuously work, schemes which we work on, and the range of other stakeholders which we take the inputs for how we can move. Very clearly, I think so, the earlier speakers have pointed out the magnitude. And I think so the magnitude is not felt. The numbers are growing, the numbers are growing, and it will change the demographic, and as predicted studies, probably in the next 50 to 70 years, there will be less younger population and more older population, and this is rightly so. It's happening because of better health care, better facilities available. So as a country, we need to plan for the future, we need to put in mechanism in place which ensures that we are, when this demographic transition which happens, we have prepared ourselves. And it's a fascinating, large subject. We can talk about, well, as I was talking about some of the issues, but it's even a simple thing like transportation, urban transportation. If we go overseas, we see that there is a extra stair which comes out for people who have to load the train or a public bus. And similarly, so many changes would require across the goods and services as we move on. The ministry is right now working on two areas. One is on a new policy. We had come up with a policy in 1999 on the senior citizens. Now we are in a position where we are, after wide consultation with stakeholders, a new policy is in the making, and it will go through the government process before it comes out. So that's one part which we are doing, so that the policy gives a direction of way ahead. 1999 was around 25 years back. Now it will give us a direction for the next 25 years. The other thing is, I think so, compared to other larger countries, and as we see it, we have an act. The act is very interestingly, if you read the full form of the act, it's called Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act 2009. Having worked with the span of last number of years, that is also a part of the certain amendments to the act to ensure that challenges or inputs which have been received over the period of time, those get reflected into the amendment to the act. So those are the big things which the government is right now looking into, this whole policy part and the legislative part of it. And I think so that shows very clearly the intent and the way the government is preparing the country for the senior citizens. As was told, there is a committee which has also been set up with Niti Aayog. One of the members of the Niti Aayog is addressing that on some of the members sitting here are part of that on the care economy and the caring part of it for the senior citizen and a roadmap for the future. Shortly, it will also come out with its recommendations and findings. Right now, we are looking at what across ministries, across states, what is being done. We will have a policy on that, the approach to that also. You would have, as was mentioned, also one of the biggest challenges of this policy is the health. And health is both physical and mental. And that part is also, part of it has been addressed by the government last month by bringing in any person who is above the age of 70 being made part of the universal health insurance. been given, and it is, mind you, like large number of schemes, income is the criteria for someone to avail beneficiaries. But here, anyone who is above 70, whether you have insurance, already have insurance, you don't have an insurance, you are a person with very limited means, or you are the richest person, all will get covered under this. And as you would be reading the newspaper reports, large number of people are already started enrolling on this under the scheme. And it's a huge numbers which we are talking of, which would be covered under the scheme. So I think so the direction of the government on the approach and preparing the country for the large numbers which are happening is in place. The department runs a number of schemes for the senior citizen. We have schemes for senior. And remember, when we look at the department, we are looking at largely people who have limited means, who have challenges, who cannot access high cost, accessing the senior citizen homes which are having a lot of cost. We have in the country people who are various stratas, and thank you. We allow the people, we support NGOs running senior citizen homes across the country. The proposals come through the state government, and then we give them based on the norms, the reimbursement of the number of inmates there are for running those housing the senior citizens. We also have welfare schemes of various kinds, including providing assistive devices. Understand the challenge is both on the rural area, the access part, and in the urban area, large concentration, the disintegrated family, nuclear families happening, and the challenges of living alone, emptiness, leading to physical and both mental challenges if you are lonely and otherwise. So we provide also support by geriatric care training. We have the National Institute of Social Defense, where we ensure that the standards and certifications are given, which will ensure that the person who gets that training is certified with the proper certification, which is the growing demand across not only the country, but across the globe. We also support entrepreneurs who can come up with goods and services. We provide financial assistance which are directly related to senior citizens. And there are other host of number of schemes. I'm not going into all of them. But the challenge is, as has been pointed out, the growing numbers, and let me tell you, the government can do this much. It has to work with the private sector, it has to work with the NGOs, it has to work with various healthcare setups, it has to work with other stakeholders to continuously innovate, continuously provide goods and services for the large population which we need. There are certain learning models where societies have aged and has led to certain demand, and as rightly pointed out, one of the biggest demand is on the healthcare side. We need to also look at the poverty level within the country, and the other thing is the feminization, which is statistically people above 60, there are more women and widows than there are men, because the life expectancy for women is much higher than men. And then when we have the inheritance rights, property rights, where those are other challenges which needs to be addressed as a policy, as law. Parents parents out of love and affection provide during their lifetime, give inheritance to what they own, and then all the challenges, neglect, and moving them away. That's why the act is there. So, to ensure that even courts, we have the act which empowers the court to restore the property which even have been inherited, or given an inheritance to the children. So actually, so progressive legislation, very large part of South Asia and Southeast Asia does not have that kind of legislation which we have. And we are not looking at other parts of it as a legislative part. So broadly, if I say, through schemes, through policy, through legislative measures, and through working with stakeholders, we are addressing the senior citizen. And one of the principles which guides us is that everyone should age with dignity. Everyone is entitled for a quality of life, and that is that guides our policy and legislation. The ASLI, I think ASLI, it's ASLI. If you call it in Hindi, it's ASLI. So, I think so. It's evolving. They are doing a niche part of the sector. Within that, the whole gamut of issues and challenges we have and the opportunities. I am not even saying challenges and the opportunities which exist for the senior citizens. And I think so. I leave it for all of you for thought. As it evolves, we will need to look at the quality of services challenges, the standards of services, the transparency which is required. Is there a need for regulation, or should the industry itself self-regulate and bring in certain what we call, like we have in the advertising industry, their own moral code of conduct kind of thing is there. And look at what is happening globally. One instance was cited of reverse pricing, something like that. Reverse mortgage. So it's look at what is happening in global experiences. And as I said, standards and quality is another part of it. Then it is, for rich people, it will be like a real estate investment. Buy something and then give it an inheritance, and you have quality of life. So is it something, if it's a real estate, then it's looked at in a different way, but if it's a comprehensive service providing, then it's a different thing. Then the various legal challenges which will evolve as we go down this road. And obviously the outreach part of it is there, which is there. Specialized training would be required because large number of manpower, we see it across developed countries, and the demand of trained manpower from our country going there as various kinds, whether it's general day care, geriatric care, specialized care, nursing, and so on and so forth. So those are the kind of requirements which are there. So we need to have a vast. Right now we have the demographic advantage. We have the youngsters who these fields are open to them for us. But then we need to build the standards for them, good certification which gives them the right kind of credentials for looking for jobs. And I think so, goods and services. In fact, as I said, that one of our schemes supports entrepreneurs on the any product for senior citizens. And recently we supported one of the industry, as which you said, was with regard to organizing curated tours for senior citizens. Someone is coming out with what is it called? The napkins, diapers. The diapers, how they have to be something which is easily handled by diapers. Someone is working in another. And the other part is, I think so, the large population also needs to be addressed on the safety and security. And when I talk safety and security, I'm talking in a very broader term because it also includes the financial challenges, financial security which is happening. Fraud cases coming in, the cyber crimes which are happening, senior citizens getting affected by it, financial literacy part of it, and otherwise the safety itself. At just time you are lonely, you are vulnerable because the next door neighbors or the criminals are aware that these persons are living and they are vulnerable. So we are working with the police departments across the country. The scheme is why can't a beat constable go around within that area and have a regular interaction with the senior citizens on just touch as a touch point on just think that they exist and they are acknowledged, and it also gives them a forum for certain grievances, certain challenges being addressed. So I think so, as I said, the government does a bigger role which is giving the direction, the policy and the legislation. But at the end of the day, all different actors, different stakeholders have to work to ensure that the country is ready and there are enough legislation, changes in the laws which are required, as was talked about, land being available concessionally, tax rates being different, or financing models, insurance models, product models designed and adapted for the senior citizen. And the whole, as I said, to conclude, the whole approach is to that we ensure that all senior citizens in this country, who otherwise as a group don't have a voice because they're spread across the community, are given that voice and they live with dignity and the kind of quality of life which is expected. And to support some of the professions, we know people can work for a longer period of time, but some can't. And people then have all these health issues also. So overall, ensuring that everyone deserves and everyone is made available